Okay, so my apologies. I guess I wasn't supposed to talk about it. That's why yes, I had to I had to answer a call. But pretty much when it comes to your ascendant, it's actually 19 degrees. So this is not the last decan of Gemini, but this is the second decan of Gemini. So this decan of Gemini is like Venus. It's ruled by Venus, you know what I'm saying? So it's Mercury Venus energy. I'll get into that for sure, for sure. But yeah, back to your first deacon. So, in the story, it just kind of goes like this little girl. In stories, like mythological stories, they use little girls to symbolize the soul. You know what I'm saying? The soul. Because typically on this physical world, you know what I'm saying? First and foremost, it's important to understand that the soul is a vibration or it's like, yeah, a vibration. It's a vibe, you know what I'm saying? It's a feminine tendency. It's actually the ego that's the masculine aspect of the being, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. And yeah, and little girl, because the soul is like evolving and developing and growing into something greater. But anyways, so this little girl, she goes into like this cabin in the wilderness or something like that, the wilderness, and she finds three little beds, and I guess she's tired and she's trying to go to sleep. She checks for the biggest bed, and she notices it's too big for her. It's uncomfortable. She checks the middle one. It's not big enough. It's not too big, but not small enough. And then she finds the smallest one, and she's like, this is perfect. And so that little bed that the little bear was occupying in is what signifies this deacon, you know what I'm saying? This is the deacon. This deacon deals with, hold on, I'm thinking, yeah, this deacon with that, was depicted in the story is the deacon that you have your son in. And the reason why the soul, or depicted by the little girl, was comfortable in this, it's because there's certain truths that reason cannot touch, you know what I'm saying? Like science will never reach. Like we will never ever be able to grasp certain ideologies and certain realities with our physical senses and just using reason alone, you know what I'm saying? Which is the last deacon of Gemini, which is my deacon. We need intuition, you know what I'm saying, to reach the truth, you know what I'm saying, to truly grasp and understand and synchronize with the truth. Now, I'll also say this, Ursa Minor is depicted next to the North Star, which is like the star of truth, and it is the only, because like the Big Dipper or Ursa Major is also depicted around the North Star, you know what I'm saying, the deacon of reason. But the thing is, Ursa Major is just hovering around. It can't touch, you know what I'm saying, it's not touching the star. It can't touch the star. But Ursa Minor is touching the star with its tail. This just kind of depicts and indicates that this is the deacon, or intuition is what can get us to truth, you know what I'm saying? There's certain realities that we need to intuit. And so I say all that to say that it's important that you learn to listen and trust your intuition. And I'll even take it as far as to say it's important that you learn to develop your mental faculties. Like, it's the last deacon, the deacon of Ursa Major, or my deacon, the Saturn Mercury deacon, where the development of the mental faculties is of essential, you know what I'm saying, developing clairvoyance, clairaudience, and just becoming sentient in the spiritual world, but from a perspective of doing research and applying science to the spiritual plane. But when it comes to this deacon, it's kind of like off the bat you're naturally already intuitive and you can already read and pick up on things, right? And you know certain things without knowing how you know them. And this is the gift of the Gemini energy in general, because Gemini is the sign which in esoteric or evolutionary astrology is depicted as the channeler, you know what I'm saying? Our ability is our ability to channel, and this is also depicted in the reality that Mercury, the Roman god Mercury, which is interchangeable with Hermes, Thoth, and like some bird gods in other cultures, which I'm not completely familiar with, to reference the name. That is, I'm familiar with the being, but not the name of it. These beings, right, Thoth, Hermes, Mercury, have always been depicted as the messenger gods, you know what I'm saying? The ones who have one foot in each world, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that is already a natural given with your sign, sun in Gemini. But then you have your sun in the 12th house, which is the house of spirituality, the spiritual world, and things like that. So it's also important to understand that you are greatly influenced by the spiritual plane, and you're influenced by your spiritual hold on, I'm thinking your spiritual company and your spiritual environment, you know what I'm saying, in the sense that we are always surrounded by beings in the spiritual plane, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people like not distort, but they confuse by making spirituality complex. But it's as simple as thoughts and emotions, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can understand your spiritual company or the environment you are in spiritually according to your thoughts and your emotions, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you feeling and what are you thinking? Certain beings will desire to like invoke negative thoughts onto you, whereas other beings of a higher nature will guide you towards higher ways of thinking, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, and the reason why the 12th house is primarily a negative house, it's because the spiritual plane, you know, spirituality is mostly a feminine thing, you know what I'm saying? It's like a feminine, the thing about the spiritual plane is it's so broad. I can't just be like, oh, it's a feminine thing. So, but technically I can, because it's the unknown, the unseen, the yin. It's the yin realm, right? Which is like the feminine realm. So yeah, we can say that. And so the 12th house primarily plays out through trauma, through negativity and things like that. And so a lot of the times, the spirits that people with 12th house energies, especially if they're not holistically aware, they attract like forces that are negative, forces that deal more with the flesh, you know what I'm saying? I forget which religion this is, but there's a religion out there that perceives the physical body and the senses as different demons, you know what I'm saying? And the justification is that we cannot sin without our senses, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can't sin without touch, without smell. Can I say smell? How do you sin with smell? Without sight, you know what I'm saying? Without hearing, without this, without that. So a lot of the times when we attract negative beings, they come to us and then they incline us towards like destructive, self-sabotaging energies, whether that be they draw us towards consuming, like addiction, you know what I'm saying, I'll say. But yeah, so it's very, very important that you are aware and you are attentive of your spiritual environment, you know what I'm saying? And I would also recommend you learning to meditate, you know what I'm saying, going into stillness and going into the darkness and sitting with yourself, and learning your inner world, because the inner world is the part of us that we are dark to, that we are unknown. It's the unknown part of us. So make the unknown known, you know what I'm saying? Make your unconscious mind as familiar as like the back of your hand, you know what I'm saying? Like, because this is very much a 12th house energy. It's all about learning to understand the unseen and the unknown, and this is also important because the unseen and the unknown occult forces have a great influence on your reality, on your being, and things like that, with you having your sun in the 12th house. Because what the sun does is it vitalizes, you know what I'm saying? So whatever house the sun is in, it brings vitality. Whatever sign the sun is in, it brings vitality as well. So it's important that you develop your mind, you know what I'm saying? You develop your brain, and also you develop your mind. Your brain is just hardware. Your mind is the software, you know what I'm saying? And I would recommend that you focus on becoming like the greatest mentalist ever, you know what I'm saying? Like, that should be your priority and your focus, to truly become great in the mental world, but simultaneously leverage your intuition, you know what I'm saying? Don't always feel like before you do something you have to concretely contact the information. Just be aware that there's certain things you may know that you don't even need to worry about how you know it. Like, you just know it, you know what I'm saying? And that comes with the Gemini energy for sure. And then with your 12th house, it's of importance that you learn to cultivate your imagination and your visual abilities, because the 12th house, it's connected to Neptune, and Neptune connects or deals with the astral body. And the thing about the astral body is very, very sensitive. It adapts and it changes. It's continuously adapting and changing according to the thoughts and emotions you have. You know what I'm saying? So rather than just allowing the change to happen by chance or by, random disorderliness, why not grasp it? You know what I'm saying? And like intentionally and constructively start developing and creating things. Now, the greatest thing I can say with this energy here, the sun deals with the will, you know what I'm saying? And the 12th house deals with like, in so many words, like transcending into a higher plane of being, you know what I'm saying? So learning to align your will with a higher will, your will with God's will, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's very important and crucial. All right, we can go on and on and on about the 12th house, but what I'm gonna go on to talk about now is your moon. So your moon is in Sagittarius. So with your moon being in Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying, it's important that you understand. All right, well, the moon, right, what I was going to say, it's important you understand that your emotional language and your emotional nature is very animated and very animated and like very passionate and very intense. Intense in a fire way, right? Because Scorpio, water, intensity as well. But yeah, interesting thing about Scorpio, you may not know any Scorpios or anything like that, but Scorpio is like the invisible flame, you know what I'm saying? It's considered the invisible flame because it's ruled by Mars. Although a water sign, they tend to express tremendous passion, tremendous intensity. But anyways, so yeah, when the moon goes into Sagittarius, one aspect that many astrologers recognize with this placement is the concept of luck, you know what I'm saying? But luck is nothing more or less but a phenomena that cannot be logically explained. So it's just given to luck, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you just got lucky. But in reality, there is truly no such thing as luck. Every single thing that happened is not coincidental. It's not chance, but there is a cause and effect. And now, it's important to understand Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, you know what I'm saying? And Jupiter is like the jovial planet. It's all about joviality and good faith, you know what I'm saying? And so Sagittariuses, they naturally have this ability to kind of tune in and tap into higher perspectives and higher awarenesses. And they're not restricted, you know what I'm saying? But they have this great aspiration to be free. Now, to be free, because philosophy is ruled by this sign, right? You know what I'm saying? Philosophy is ruled by Sagittarius, right? Religion is ruled by Sagittarius simultaneously. Spirituality is ruled by Sagittarius. And it's like those who are philosophical, who are spiritual, and even religious, you know what I'm saying? They have in their inventory access to a higher power, a higher source. So for them, so much more is possible. Whereas the opposite sign to Sagittarius, Gemini, you know what I'm saying? These individuals are more so going through life, trying to figure things out through the application and the utilization of their mind, you know what I'm saying? Whereas the Sagittarius is more likely to, let's say, go to like a mosque or a church, or if they're not religious, they're more likely to through their spiritual practices, reach out to a higher power or a higher force and ask for assistance and ask for guidance, you know what I'm saying? And not only ask, but envision it, see it, feel it. That's the thing about air. And air is more like intangible, you know what I'm saying? Air is more like an idea. Air signs were like patterns, you know what I'm saying? But then fire signs, they're like the action, the passion, the fuel that brings this pattern to life, you know what I'm saying? Well, water more so is the fuel that brings things to life, and then fire is like the manifestation of that thing in motion. Yeah, fire and water, they're both yin elements. Like fire is more yang, but in general they're both yin, you know what I'm saying? Just like air and earth are yang, meaning air and earth are masculine energies, fire and water are feminine energies. Naturally, of course, fire is the masculine, and but yeah, anyways, that's aside the point. But I bring that up to explain this, you know what I'm saying, that fire energies, they are the yin because they deal with like the imagination and the vision, you know what I'm saying, the ability to visualize and the ability to see things. The key phrase for Sagittarius is I see, and it's all about sight, you know what I'm saying. And Sagittarius is mutable fire, so mutability, like Gemini, right? Because Gemini is also mutable energy. So for something to be mutable just means that it's adaptable and changeable and flexible, you know what I'm saying. So Geminis, we're adaptable, changeable, and flexible when it comes to our mind, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to our thoughts, when it comes to our thoughts and our ways of thinking. Whereas Sagittarius is adaptable and changeable in the fire element. Fire is all about experience, you know what I'm saying. So Sagittarius are open to experiencing. Now the thing is, we are all, as it's said, children of God, you know what I'm saying, and we're all here experiencing, and it's like you want your child, right, to be something you can be proud of, someone you can be proud of, right? And you also want to ensure that, like, if necessary, your child will like be useful to you or like carry on your legacy, you know what I'm saying. It's the same concept with like the Sagittarius energy. Yeah, the Sagittarius energy, in the sense that Sagittarius, because they're open to experiencing life and they're not rigid, God can express through Sagittarius more than other people. Because, you know, Sagittarius is adventurous. They're up for the journey, you know what I'm saying? They're like do and then think later type energy, you know what I'm saying? And they allow themselves to have the experience first before they decide if they enjoy or if they don't enjoy, you know what I'm saying? Whereas I feel like the Gemini energy, and this is why, you know, Gemini doesn't like to be in Sagittarius's ruling planet, Jupiter. Geminis, you know, we have the downfall of overthinking things to a point where we might overthink ourselves out of something good, meaning that we may make up our minds about an experience before we even experience it, before we even touch it. And that's very negative, you know what I'm saying? Because there are certain things out there for us, and that's like the concept or the saying, lean not solely on your own understanding, but lean on mine, you know what I'm saying? Not word to word, but there's a verse in the Bible that goes like that. You know, it just explains that sometimes your understanding as a human being is restricted and limited. It's like sometimes you need to go through things and there's a greater reason, and just have faith and lean on the awareness that there is a good reason for this. There is a greater intellect and knowledge that you just don't understand and that you're just not aware of. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. So yeah, so like that's why, like, when it comes to the Sagittarius energy, you know what I'm saying, these individuals, they can be perceived as lucky, but it's not so much that they're lucky, it's more so that they're open to experiencing life, you know what I'm saying? They're not rigid, and they don't think themselves out of experiences, so they don't think themselves out of their blessings or whatever. So yeah, that's one thing. I said all that to say that, you know, Moon in Sagittarius is they tend to be perceived as lucky or like just blessed, or like there's a higher force guiding them or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it's important for you as a Sagittarius moon that you have some sort of like faith or devotion, you know what I'm saying, or illumination, exploration, I think exploration, illumination. So this is the second decan of Sagittarius, Aries, exploration. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. So this is actually the second decan of because you have your moon at 17 degrees, you know what I'm saying? Your moon at 17 degrees Sagittarius. So this is the second decan of Sagittarius, and this is the decan of exploration, you know what I'm saying? So this just indicates that in this life it's important that you enable and allow yourself to explore your emotions and explore like the experiences that come to you as a mother, you know what I'm saying, and explore your mind even, right? Moon in the 6th house. Now, this is also moon, I just said moon in the 6th house, so moon in Sagittarius, right? Exploration. But this is also moon in the 6th house. So it's important that when it comes to work and jobs, you be open and you kind of, in a sense, allow yourself to be open enough to be taken where you are needed, you know what I'm saying? To be taken where you are needed, and don't try to control things and don't try to be so rigid. I mean, you should definitely try to control things, but it's like sometimes, and this doesn't even have to be jobs. This can just be like, maybe you're called to serve, you know what I'm saying? You're called to be selfless one way or another, you know what I'm saying? Like, do it in faith and understanding that to do such work is to do the work of God, you know what I'm saying? Or however you reference the higher being. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much like the moon in Sagittarius. So just general things I can talk about, like with the moon dealing with emotions. These are people that have an ability, you know, because the moon was just in Scorpio. It's debilitation. So it's not really debilitating no more, but it still has this somewhat imbalanced tendency of feeling emotions on extremes. You know what I'm saying? Like, people with the moon in Sagittarius, typically, because, you know, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, typically these are jovial, upbeat, happy-go-lucky, positive individuals, you know what I'm saying? And they have an ability to bring great, like, sunshine or sunlight to people. And people enjoy being around these folks. But it's like, when it comes to Jupiter's energy, it's all about, its debilitation is indulgence, like its downfall is indulgence, like overdoing things, right? Being overly expansive. So it's like, there are highly positive and amazing and good energies to be around when they're on the positive end of things, but simultaneously they can be like very destructive, you know what I'm saying? Very like destructive, what's the other word? I think I'm trying to use the word combustive. Like, they can be explosive, you know what I'm saying? So just be cautious that you don't do that too much. Like, moon in Sagittarius people, another negative can be their competitive tendency, you know what I'm saying? They may find themselves turning anything and everything into competition, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, sometimes you don't need to compete. Like, you can just maybe allow yourself to have a seat in the, you know, in second place or something, or just realize, like, this isn't a place where I should be competing. This is a place of family energies, and I should just let everyone shine, and I should understand I have my own energies and my own ability to shine as well. Lastly, I'll talk about this, you know what I'm saying? Because we'll touch more on your ascendant later, but yeah, you know, our time is closing up. So lastly, I'll talk about this. When it comes to the moon in Sagittarius, my bad, not moon in Sagittarius. When it comes to the moon in the 6th house, one thing that needs to be balanced is work health, you know what I'm saying? Like, ensure that you're not working so much that you're killing yourself, you know what I'm saying? But simultaneously ensure that you're not working so much that you're killing yourself, but also ensure that, yeah, pretty much, you know, because with your moon being in Sagittarius, like, one thing that brings you comfort and stability and security is ensuring that you are employed, you have some sort of employment. But it's like, it's important that you don't overdo it to the point where you find yourself not being able to work, not being able to make money, because you were working and working and working to the point where now you're sick and now you're ill. You know what I'm saying? The sixth house is the house of work, but it's also the house of health. So it's important that you have health routines and health regimens. You know what I'm saying? And it's also important and valuable that, you don't neglect your health, I guess is all I gotta say. Because if you do neglect your health, then one issue that will pop up and a responsibility that will pop up for you is health. You know what I'm saying? And so just be conscientious and be cautious. And I think with the moon in the sixth house, right, being being a planet that deals with health, it's important that you don't Wait, I was gonna say, this can also be mental health. You know what I'm saying? It can also be mental health, like, mental health. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that your mental health is good, and this is reinforced by you having your sun in the 12th house as well. So ensure that your mental health is stable, and you do things for your mental health, like getting your birth chart decoded is very good. You know, it's a great contribution. It's a great contribution to your moon in the 6th house, but also a great contribution to like your 12th house energies. But for sure. That pretty much concludes this session. I'm so happy that I did it. My ride is approaching. And also, we pretty much did what we needed to do. Namaste. I hope you have a beautiful day, my friend. Peace.